Hey, good morning. It's your boy C-Mac from C-Mac Cooks, and Happy New Year. Here we are, 2024. As you can see, I've got the big green egg lit up, and this is going to be hopefully the first in a multiple series of cooks, as promised by my previous video. And so, just getting this up to temp. Let's go back inside, and I'll show you what we're going to be cooking up and what this series is all about. Come on in with me. All right, as you can see, we're back inside. It's a little warmer in here. In fact, don't need this. So, Southern soul food is what we're going to be cooking for the next few days. One of my boys back in California, Big D Wood, always had a New Year's Day party, and it was all Southern soul food. So this time of year really makes me think of all that comfort food. But today we're doing something special. We got ourselves a bunch of oxtails. Now, if you're not familiar with oxtails, no, they're not from ox anymore. They're cow tails. You know, cut in segments. But these things are meaty and tender if cooked right. Oh, hi. And they are fantastic. So I'm gonna take you through what we're gonna do with these, and we're gonna have a little fun with some oxtails today. Okay, as you can see, we've got our oxtails pretty cleaned up. Now, most of the time they'll come from the butcher, pretty tight in terms of the fat. But if you, just like with any meats, if you've got a lot of excess fat or the hard fat that's not going to render, go ahead and trim those up just like I did. I'm going to put them in a little pan. I'm going to hit them with a little oil just as a little bit of a binder. And I usually kind of season these almost like I would a brisket. It can take a lot of seasoning and needs a seasoning that can stand up to it. So I'm going to be using that PS Seasonings Prime Time, the buttery beef rub. Should be fantastic on these guys. And now let's start seasoning. So again, we can go pretty liberal on these guys. We want them all sides covered. You're going to get that nice bark on these. Okay, we are pretty well seasoned. So let's go back and check out the egg. The egg's up to temp. We're going to get these guys on. All right, let's go.
A few moments later.
All right, as you can see, we're back out the egg. Egg is up to temp. We're gonna shoot for about 225. I like to do these pretty low for the smoking portion of it. Break down all that connective tissue. But before we put them in, I'm gonna hit it with a little smoke. My favorite, a little barrel proof, some chips in here. Doesn't need a ton. And no, they do not need to be soaked. Okay, so again, we're gonna go indirect. So I got my expander set up for indirect cooking with the half moons. See, we've already got some smoke going. Let's get these bad boys on here. I'm telling you, these are already smelling good. And you can do a lot of stuff with these when they're done cooking. I mean, obviously, you can just eat them straight as they are. You can do tacos, quesadillas, put it in a stew. I mean, it's really kind of up to your imagination on what you can do with some oxtails. There we go. We got them all on. We're gonna close it up. I got my lid just barely cracked. So that should get us in the neighborhood of about 225, 230. And we'll probably be letting those go about 3 hours. So while those are cooking and while those are smoking away, come on back inside and let's do some prep.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
Okay, as you can see, we're back inside in the warmth of the kitchen now. And here's part of the prep we needed to do. So using about roughly a cup rough chopped white onions, celery, and carrots. This is all going to be part of our braising liquid. Now, rather than chopping up finely and letting it kind of meld in the whole sauce, I'm kind of going for a, a rustic braise that we're going to use for the sauce afterwards. So I leave it a little bit chunkier. All right, got our pan heated up. Let's get the veg in there. So we're just gonna sweat these for maybe about, I don't know, 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes. They're gonna have plenty of time to cook when they're in the braising liquid. So we'll come back in a couple minutes here. Okay, our Trinity here has been going for about 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes. Let's get some garlic in here. We'll cook that down another minute with that garlic, and we'll get some liquids in there. Okay, the garlic is cooking nicely. It's smelling super fragrant. So let's get some tomato paste in here. A little bit about W sauce. This is, by the way, the Fireshire, so we're going to go with a little bit of heat. A little bit more. There we go. A little balsamic vinegar, about the same amount. And we'll hit this with a cup of red wine. I'm using a little Bucciarelli red. Whenever you cook with wine, go with a good wine that you like. Don't go with cheap wine. Definitely impacts the flavor of your dish. So we're going to let this cook down for probably about 5 minutes, and then I'll show you the next step. All right, our liquids are cooking down nicely. All the veg is starting to get softer. So let's get our beef broth in. We're doing about 3 cups. And then we're going to reduce this all the way down for, probably cook it for about 8-9 minutes, and then we'll be back. Okay, so it's been almost 3 hours. Let's take a look. Oh, that is what you want to see. Look at these guys. Look at that. Look at that color. It smells so good. So here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna take some of these little guys, throw them in a cast iron pot first. And I'm throwing these little nuggets in here because I'm gonna put the bigger pieces on top, just so we've got some little bit of a flow underneath. Yeah. Oh, got a little dog hair on that. All right, so all the little nuggets are there. Now I'm going to take big pieces of oxtail and put them on top. Just kind of nestle them in. I don't want this too high because we're going to pour the braising liquid in and braise the heck out of these guys. All right, so that's pretty even. Let's get, here's our braising liquid and veg. Oh yeah, there we go. So now we're going to cover this, get it back in the egg, and we're going to cook it to another at least 2 hours. till that gets super nice and tender. Then it's gonna be money. I can't wait. Okay, this has been braising for about 2.5 hours. Let's see how we're looking here. Get a little bit closer. Let's see that. Yeah, I'm kind of looking for probe tender. And we're getting close, but not quite there. Braising liquid is just thickening up. So good. Beefy, sweet. So we're gonna go for probably another 45 minutes to an hour, and then we'll check it. Okay, I think we're about ready here. Let's close this down. Ooh. All right. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Let's come on over here. I'll show you how we're gonna plate this. All right. So I boiled up, got some jasmine rice here. Let's get that on the board. I'm gonna grab a couple of bigger pieces here. Oh yeah, they're falling apart. Exactly what I was looking for. Ooh. Okay, I'm gonna get some of that braising liquid, get that on the rice, get some of that veg in there too. Here's some of the little pieces. That is money. Let's get a little green to finish it off. And folks, that is what we are looking at right there. All right, let's give this buddy a test.
5 minutes later.
All right, well here we are, oxtails. So just to kind of bring you back, we hit that with some of the PS Seasonings Butcher Blend, the prime time, little beefy rub. Smoked them for 2.5, 3 hours. Got some good bark on them, some good smoke. Then we braised the heck out of them in beef broth and wine and veg and all kind of good stuff. We got some rice. I'm gonna do one more thing to finish this off. You hit it with a little bit of that hot honey. Now I know this is not traditional, but that's the fun about food. You know, make it yours. Put whatever you want on it. We're gonna do a little hot honey. Give that a little bit more sweetness, and of course, a little bit of heat too. Now, it's important that you pair it with something. I'm going with that Brewery Sylvaticus Long Shadow. This is last year's vintage, which is one of my favorite beers of all time. 11% ABV. It's Baltic Porter, aged in bourbon barrels. So that's going to also pair nicely with the smoke on these oxtails that came from the Barrel Proof Bourbon Barrel chips. So a little piece of the rice with or a bite of the rice. That braising liquid and au jus. Okay, look at that. That meat is just falling off the bone. That is beefy, gelatinous goodness. I'll tell you, if you've never Tried oxtails. Trust me, phenomenal. So good. I better try one more bite. Just get a little bit of that beef and the rice. That hot honey. Yeah, that's money. Rhymes. All right, listen. Thanks for hanging with me. My first re-entry into YouTube, into 2023, into 2024. Cheers. Happy New Year's. Second video in this series coming soon. Happy New Year.